Video is going to be about getting a weather briefing from 1-800-WEATHER-BRIEF online. You can also get a weather briefing by calling them up at 1-800-WEATHER-BRIEF, but we're going to show you the online version. So we're at 1-800-WEATHERBRIEF.com, their login page here, operated by Flight Service. If you haven't created an account, that's the first thing you're going to need to do. I'm going to log in here, and it'll bring us to our home page. Okay, here at our home page, in order to get a weather briefing, we're going to go to the same spot where we would go to if we had to actually file a flight plan. So plan and brief, click on that. Okay, here is our flight plan page. We're going to fill out the information that we need to in order to do a weather briefing. So I'm going to get the required fields here just so you can see what we actually need. If we're doing a real VFR flight plan, then we may fill out some other information. So aircraft ID, that's the first thing we're going to need. Our tail number, I'll do it for our 150 here. Flight rule, we are VFR. Flight type is going to be G for general aviation. One aircraft, we're not flying in formation. Aircraft type, this is where we're going to put a C-150. If you're not sure, then you could search. You could put in Piper. Bring that up. Look for your model. Type of that is. For our Cherokee, we would do P28 Alpha. But leave that, 150. Wake turbulence, we are L for light. Going down to departure, we are going to be leaving Southbridge today, so 3 Bravo 0. Do a local flight. And the time, we'll do it for 10 a.m. Just be careful about making sure that you are looking at the right time zone, if it's UTC or your local time. Our case is local. Right, cruising speed. This is where it gets a little tricky with the formatting. We can't just put in 100 miles an hour for our 150. We have to put it in the format that the flight plan likes. So we hover, if you're ever unsure, you can hover over, click on the label, and you would get the format that needs to be inputted for the flight plan. So for knots, miles per hour, we'll convert it to knots. So 100 miles an hour, about 90 knots or so. We have to put N followed by 4 digits. So I'll put N0090. Level, this is the next one. What altitude are you going to be flying at? Again, it's a little bit tricky. I like to just go by the first line here. Our altitude is going to be alpha followed by 3 digits. So 090 would be 9,000. We're not going that high. I'll do it 3,000. Going up, do some stalls. Not too low, not too high. Okay. Route of flight, we can leave that as direct. And destination, we're just coming back to 3 Bravo 0. One other thing I'd like to do is, first estimated elapsed time, we'll do that here. For a typical training flight, I leave that with 2 hours. And an alternate airport, I'll fill out these. So if we're doing a pattern work at another airport nearby, such as Worcester or Wyndham, can have those in there as well. That's more important for looking for the NOTAMs for those airports. All right, so that's all the information that we need. Now that you filled this out, if you save as a favorite, you can name it as an airplane, the airport, whatever you like to, for it to pop up. And then each time you come back in, all you have to do is click on your favorite flight plans and it'll preload for you. Okay, so I already have it saved. I won't save it again. You click on that, and typically then all I have to do is enter the time I'm going to depart. So easy. All right, in order to get our weather briefing now at the bottom here, we're going to go to route brief. If we were doing anything else like filing flight plan, we'd fill out a little bit more information, press file. But today, route brief. So click on that. We're going to get this pop-up box. We want to make sure we're getting a standard briefing. And you don't have to change anything else other than I will leave plain text translations unchecked. Leave it unchecked. This is to help you to get the right format for the TAFs and the METARs, typically. Okay, from there, I like to click on web briefing. If you want to save it or email it to yourself, you can get a PDF or email briefing. The weather briefing also saves on your account for 45 days. So if you close out of the browser, you can pull it back up later. Okay, so here's our weather briefing. You have a table of contents. You can click on things to jump around if you wanted to. I like to run through it just from the top to bottom, though, typically. It starts off with just what you inputted, the data on your flight. And then what's nice is right up front, you're going to get adverse conditions. So if there's a TFR, which there's not today, that would restrict us from flying, you'd see that right away, as well as any closed unsafe NOTAMs of an airport, runways closed at any of these airports. We'll see that right away in case we need to modify our flight. Then we start getting into SIGMETs and AirMets. Today we actually do have a SIGMET for some turbulence, high-level turbulence it looks like. Going down from there, what's nice is you get all the charts compared to when you are talking to a weather briefer. You only hear all of this being spoken to you. So even if you do call to get a weather briefing at 1-800-WEATHER-BRIEF, when I do that, I also file or get the weather briefing online so I could walk through with the briefer looking at these charts as he's talking about them. All right, we'll go through these charts another time. This is just a video on how to get the weather briefing itself. And then what's nice is at the bottom, we have our NOTAMs too for all of the airports. So before every flight, we should be getting a weather briefing. And this is how you do it.